Baltimore and the Giants, are you kidding me? The Giants could, put up a fight, maybe not win, bloom. It is part 2 of the Week 6 preview here on the Audible, and the Baltimore side is interesting. And, well, we're watching a couple of injuries. We're watching Gus Edwards get on to Gus Bus. When is he going to come back and look like himself? And then Rashad Bateman and watching that. So let's talk Baltimore side, because the Giants are maybe the more interesting team here. Not the better team, but the more interesting one.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about here. And I think that, again, I got to mention the Super Bowl rematch. This is one of the most boring Super Bowls, right? Kerry Collins against that Ravens defense.
Yeah, Stokely always gets mad at me because he caught a touchdown in that game, and I'm like, that's the worst Super Bowl ever.
It doesn't count. If you caught a touchdown in that game.
So awful.
Yeah, that doesn't count. I'm joining your team there to tease Brandon Stokely, friend of the show. So with Baltimore, you wonder if Lamar Jackson is showing some cracks. And people were pointing out, smart football people were pointing out, that so much of this offense rests on Lamar Jackson that it can't hold up forever, whether it's teams figuring it out, like what happens in the playoffs usually with Baltimore, or an injury. And this week he's facing Wink Martindale, former defensive coordinator for the Ravens. Maybe he'll have some insight into how to frustrate and thwart Lamar Jackson. And like you said, will Rashad Bateman be back? I think either way, we're looking at, again, 4 teams on bye. We're looking at Devin Duvernay as a wide receiver 3 flex. And like you said, Gus Edwards, not ready yet. They were putting Kenyon Drake out there because J.K. Dobbins is still on a snap count, hasn't topped about 35 snaps, actually went back down in snaps, was on the sidelines in the fourth quarter, no injury problems, but they're still being cautious. Now, does that get ramped up this week? Dobbins more of a what-the-heck flex. Look, beggars can't be choosers at running back, so he might be your running back too this week. He had a couple touchdowns a few weeks ago, but you don't necessarily expect an overwhelming offensive day from the Ravens, including if Rashad Bateman isn't playing. He hasn't practiced yet. Even if he is playing, you're not sure how much of a field stretching presence he can provide. A lot of this is going to fall on Mark Andrews again, and this is part of why we like Devin Duvernay, and part of what makes up that snap count deficit for Dobbins is, and Justice Hill's out, Devin Duvernay out of the backfield, which is why we like him. So we're looking at this Ravens team, Cease, and they're 3-2. They should be 5-0, right? They just lost the lead at the very end of the 2 games they lost, but they also could be 2-3. They could have easily lost last week. So all this mights and buts and ifs, if they lose this game and they fall to 3-3, it doesn't matter. The losses and wins count the same. And we can see nothing is a given. Every win is earned, and the Giants have earned 4 of them.
Yeah, they have earned 4, and they've done it, and they've built confidence from it. And I love Brian Dable. Make no mistake about that. Don't love Daniel Jones. I don't think any of us do, Bloom. Cue the Matt Waldman drop of like Daniel Jones shaking his fist. But like, okay, what does your players do best? What do they not do best? And what's the best way to win? Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You're a head coach. You either start out like Nathaniel Hackett, it is the Broncos show, or Brian Dable. Well, we all know the answer to that, because Happy Fun Baby Star is probably going to get a pink slip at the end of this year. But either way, I look at Dable riding Barkley and saying, hey, Jones, you can't do everything, but just do this. It's brilliant, and it's simple.
Yeah.
And it's working.
It is, and it's building confidence. It's building confidence with Daniel Jones, who's being used as a runner by design. So he's your what-the-heck quarterback 2 super flex, maybe even your starting fantasy quarterback this week. Baltimore's defense hasn't been that imposing. You also have Saquon Barkley, like you said, Cecil. He's got a shoulder injury in this one. They're not worried about it, but shoulder injuries, running backs can recur, can be a problem. So Matt Breida's on waiver wire speed dial, because this offense has been viable, even though they don't have anybody in the passing game. Okay, they have Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton was solid last week. Maybe this Ravens secondary is kind of coming into focus so that the passing game isn't going to really do much. But if they do, it's Slayton, maybe Daniel Bellinger. If you're really desperate, he had a touchdown on a carry last week. So they like him. They like his physical tools that they feel like weren't utilized properly. And otherwise, we're waiting for everyone to get healthy. I think Wan'Dale Robinson had a limited practice, so maybe he'll get out there. You're not going to use him in the first week back. Some sort of help for this passing game. But that's the thing, Cecil. We're talking about this team limping into this game at 4-1 with Daniel Jones leading 3 fourth-quarter comebacks. It's different times, and it wouldn't be shocking to see them 5-1 in that power division, the NFC East.
Yeah, the NFC East, get it done. Power abounds. I guess some transitions are better than others. When we talk about Tampa Bay against our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers, don't hurt them. That's what I say every week, right? And we had talked about when Kenny Pickett gets in, like, oh man, could he do it after the Bucs game? After the Bills game? Well, it wasn't. We know that. And I'm starting with Pickett's side. I should start with the Buccaneers side, Bloom.
Right,
but the Buccaneers side is like, okay, Tommy Brady's going to throw it 50 times. Okay. And he's a low end QB1. And then I'm just waiting for Rachaad White. If I were to release an album right now, Bloom, it would be 1, I Need More Sleep. 2, the other album name would be I'm Waiting for Rachaad White.
Waiting for Rachaad White instead of waiting for Godot. See, can I get this in? Because we weren't at Heinz Field. It's Heinz Field, okay? We weren't at Heinz Field to start the Kenny chants, right?
Right.
It's too late for that. Maybe for this game, because it may be the last time we can go boo, boo, because it's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady visiting Pittsburgh. And it's just the gamesmanship. Of course, I would hope that every time Tom Brady does anything, they just lustily boo him, because that's been a thorn in the Steelers' side for so long, going back to that 2001 Super Bowl. You know, see, I don't want to get over sentimental about it, but 3 times my recently deceased father and I were going to go to see the Steelers in the Super Bowl. One of them was that New England Pittsburgh AFC Championship. Tom Brady. Anyway, that's why I boo out of love. And you're going to love the dink and dunk offense here. Chris Godwin, still a little banged up. You know, he's going to hoover up short receptions. You know, Mike Evans is probably going to get some shots here. And that's about it. Cameron Brate, you are seeing 4, 5, 6 receptions for the tight end almost every week in this dink and dunk offense. And you are seeing Leonard Fournette getting a lot of really cheap PPR points, but that's how they're going to move the sticks in this offense. Rachaad White remains a what the heck flex because he fits so well, because he's getting 40% of the snaps, because in any given game, you can see Leonard Fournette getting banged up. And speaking of banged up, Russell Gage has been banged up. We're just waiting for him to eventually get off the injury report to maybe have some value. It's not there right now. And the Steelers defense, I think the Steelers are going to be running around in this one a lot, chasing guys, tackling guys, getting 6, 7, 8 yard gains, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Kenny Pickett, he's not looking to make paper cuts. He's getting his sword out and he's swinging it.
He is swinging it. That's what he does there on this day with Kenny Pickett. And Kenny Pickett continuing to grow, continuing to show that fire. Wouldn't be surprised to see him like bow up to the Buccaneers defense. Yeah. So that would be interesting. But from a fantasy perspective, I'm just watching his target distribution. Not really relying on this. And they kept saying, what was the news item this week, Bloom? Jaylen Warren still going to work him? Yeah, because Najee's banged up, and, well, this is what you get.
Yeah, and I think, we saw last week Kenny Pickett basically ready to take on the whole Bills team, right? And Kenny Pickett's the guy where it's like the dude that is 6 inches taller and 100 pounds heavier is wanting to fight him, and he's saying, let me at him. And you're holding back like, hey, man. But, like you said, you may see some hits. You may see Tampa really harass him. But I also think you're going to see him take shots downfield to George Pickens. You're going to see him get the ball out quickly to Deontay Johnson. We're seeing Chase Claypool come back in here. So 4 teams on bye, you're definitely playing Deontay Johnson and George Pickens anyway. And you might even play Chase Claypool, because it makes a lot of sense for the Steelers to throw the ball a lot in this game. Najee Harris, you probably have to keep in your lineup if he's active, but we won't be surprised to see more Jaylen Warren playing well. It's the Steelers. Sorry, Joe. The Steelers piss away all these 4th round picks on running backs, and then they get Oklahoma State Cowboys baby Jaylen Warren, and they have a good backup who's now pushing the starter, not just because he's hurt, because he's playing as well as the starter. Pat Freiermuth's coming in with a concussion. Set Gentry, a desperation play. If Freiermuth's out, if Freiermuth's in, he's in. And I'm not going to try to be too optimistic here, but you beat Tom Brady. Wouldn't that be a signature win? Wouldn't that be the win for the fan base, for Kenny Pickett, remember the connection here at Heinz Field, Kenny Pickett elevating the Pitt program, and as a longtime Pitt fan, like my late father, that you elevated this Pitt program, Kenny Pickett, means you got something. Let's see what you got against Tampa.
See what you got. And the ever feverish note taking that I do that you can't see on my little sticky note bloom.
Yeah.
And how sometimes, I'll make my CAR look like an LAR and I'll look like my
and now
LAR.
They play each other.
Now they play each other.
So who's at home? Who's the home team?
It's the Rams. It's the Rams. Yeah. Because I make sure now every week, like LAR versus CAR. I can spell. Yay for me. Carolina. And PJ Walker. And I guess still Christian McCaffrey hasn't been traded to Buffalo yet, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? And Buffalo, by the way, that's the move you need to make.
Yeah.
And we love the Bills, and certainly my best friend's a Bills fan and love nothing more than to see them win the Super Bowl. But Buffalo, you got to push your chips in because that's what the Rams did.
Yeah.
With Vaughn and Odell. Like, what are they? Buffalo, push your chips in because we're going to talk about that Buffalo KC game. In fact, I want to do the whole show on that game, and then I want to skip the Monday night game.
Right.
But Carolina is in bad shape.
Yeah.
We like PJ Walker. I've talked to PJ. I know him a little bit, but good kid, efficient quarterback. He'll probably look better than Baker Mayfield, but it's still, in shambles. Is there any dead cat bounce here?
That's what I have in my notes. Dead cat bounce. That's right.
It is the Panthers, right?
It is. Perfect. Yay for you. You can spell. Yay for the Panthers. They finally fired their coach.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. Dead cat bounce. Yeah. And technically, I think the dead cat bounce is when the market is so bad that some of the speculators have to call in some of their shorts, like buy some to cover their position. So it's so briefly goes up and then it just keeps going down. So in this case, I think it absolutely applies for this game, although this looks like a defensive battle. And PJ Walker, remember, he's even on the team if Matt Rule's not the head coach. So we'll see. But Steve Wilkes is back. Okay. And it's funny, Cecil, this is what I have in my notes. Dead cat bounce, Christian McCaffrey traded. That's basically like what's interesting to talk about in this game. I guess it can't get worse for DJ Moore. You're watching Shi Smith. It's interesting. He seems to be passing Terrace Marshall, who did show up last week. So maybe there's something a little more to this offense. Maybe it's not even the coach being fired, Cecil. Maybe it's just Baker Mayfield not being out there lifting the spirits of this team. We'll see. With respect to McCaffrey and Buffalo, though, Cecil, I think you're absolutely right. And I'm going to carve out a couple of reasons I think that it is very much correct for Buffalo to make this move. Number one, Panthers aren't going to be looking for much. What gets it done, Cecil? Third round pick?
Yeah, and they said they'd pay part of his salary.
Yeah. So they're just looking to dump salary. David Tepper's just looking to dump salary at this point. Okay, so you're Buffalo.
How about like Dave Chappelle? He did that surprise show in Colorado, Bloom. Like he's like Rick James. Like, come here.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah, come here. Come on.
Give it to me, baby.
And it sends a message to the Bills team. We're pulling out all the stops. And I think the other thing here is that it really is an element, and James Cook just isn't ready yet. It is an element that I think they already have a game plan for in their offense. So I'd love to see that happen. And Buffalo, as a franchise, if it's just taking on money, partial money, and a commitment to money, then it's the bill. I mean, they're doing so well. I'm sure they have to be making some extra money off of all this. So yeah, commit. The Rams commit to the running game. I don't know. I don't think they really have anybody they trust in the running game. I don't think they have anybody they trust in the passing game other than Cooper Kupp. So again, this is going to be like a fight between like someone with like one leg and one arm and somebody else who is asleep. I mean, it's just this game looks so uninteresting, but thankfully we will miss it anyway because of the Buffalo Kansas City game.
It'll be like the first fight that I ever got in. Bloom.
This is a good story. See, this is part of that story podcast.
Yeah, it is.
You are a lover and a fighter. Yeah,
I'm both. And I haven't gotten a fight in years. My last fight was bad enough that I won't get in a fight again unless someone's threatening my family. We do have that to discuss as well. Anyway, it's been a weird couple of days, Bloom. But my very first fight, I took my stuffed animal, and I didn't have a name for him. He was just Puppy Dog. So it was like kindergarten. It was take your stuffed animal to school day. And my mom, God rest her soul, she was like, don't let anyone take Puppy Dog. Make sure because you're real good to Puppy Dog, and someone will take it and they'll rip the eyes off or whatever. So I love my puppy dog, and I wasn't going to let anybody take my puppy dog. So I'm sitting on my seat on the bus coming home, and my buddy CJ, who I had met the first day on the bus, kindergarten, and we became fast friends. He was like, "Let me see puppy dog," and I was like, "No." I was like, "No," because when your parent tells you something and you're 5 years old, you're like, "This is the gospel." No, you're not taking puppy dog. And like he came over and sat in my seat because I was like sitting in the middle of the seat. So he sat on my seat. He was like very aggressive, like, "Let me get puppy dog." And I was like, "No." I was like in a corner, right? Puppy dog in the corner. He's like, "Give it a puppy dog." I was like, "Bam!"
Got him
in the stomach. I'm not promoting violence.
No.
And so he hit me in the stomach when we both started crying.
That was it.
The bus driver split us up.
Ends in tears.
That was it. And then I remember like crying, getting off the bus, and Fritz, God rest his soul, he was like, "You guys will be fine tomorrow." Because I was like, "I hate you. I hate you."
Yeah.
Then the next day we were like, "Yay, football," or whatever.
We were even by recess,
Yeah. So anyway, first fight stories.
Story.
Last fight stories. Bloom, you know about my last fight story. So
yeah. Good stories. You might be surprised. I only got in a handful of fights, like 2 or 3. The first one I can remember was one when you were like 9 or 10 and the older kids, like the 14, 15-year-old kids, would let you play pickup basketball. That was awesome. And there was me and my friend Clayton. Makes me think of Clayton Gray. Lots of love to Clayton Gray. And we were each like the little kid on each pickup basketball team, and it was fun. And then after the game, because this is what 14, 15-year-old males are like, they told Clayton, they were like, punch Sig in the face. Come on, punch him in the face. And we're like, huh? He's like, go do it. I'm like, Sig, you punch Clayton. And we were both the same thing, Cease. Why did I do that? You're my friend. But they were telling me, I'm sorry.
Okay, that is awesome. Did we talk about the Rams? Do we need to talk about the Rams?
It's really funny how when the games are boring, that's when we fill the space with life. And what's the space going to be filled here? A lot of Cooper Kupp. Tyler Higbee's banged up. If he's in, you still got to play him. Right. And you're going against the Carolina defense. It was actually pretty good. Phil Snow, who actually made this defense pretty good, kind of the right-hand man for Matt Rule, he's out. Watching here, the Rams are going to be attracted to the drawing board, back to the drawing board for this game. At least Sean McVay says that. Do we see maybe more Ben Skowronek? We see Tutu Atwell used more. Do we see anything to try to get this offense jump started? The running game would make sense here, but Cam Akers ain't doing it. They're not using Darrell Henderson very much in the running game. They're using him more as a receiver out of the backfield. Maybe Darrell Henderson is a sleeper of the week, but we're waiting for him to wake up. We're waiting for this offense to wake up. And this one's going to be a snoozer.
Yeah, we're waiting to go to the next game, which is Arizona and Seattle. And thank goodness there's something to talk about. No Nuke Hopkins yet, right? Just week 6 and doing the math. All right, we got to wait one more week. So what does that mean for Kyler Murray? And then the James Conner situation. Like I've written about Keontae Ingram this week on our newswire. I'm so happy, Bloom.
Yeah.
I was like, Keontae, I gotta make sure I spell his first name right. Keontae, Keontae Ingram, because I love him. Benjamin's ahead of him. James Conner may not play. And if he does, he may be limited. So is it more Benjamin? A slight dash of Keontae would make me so happy.
Sure. Yeah, we'll see. I think Benjamin is in your lineup one way or the other because James Conner, if he comes in and plays with an injury designation, is known to not finish the game. Or at the very least, the Cardinals, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so first of all, this game, the winner of this game has some respectability. I think the winner of this game will be 3-3. And this is a game, I think both of these teams are going in the right direction. They're both improving. As we're watching the trajectory of teams right now, some teams going down, like Jacksonville, some teams going up. Both of these teams going up. Remember, Arizona last week played Philly right down to the end, and you could have flipped any number of plays in that game, and Arizona would have upset Philadelphia. But maybe in time we won't look at that as an upset. Kyler Murray's getting better. This offense is getting better. Like you said, Cease, DeAndre Hopkins is coming back next week. So just as far as buy low offers or getting out ahead of this whole offense, I think starting to take off. But for this week, without Hopkins, you're going to see Rondale Moore in the slot. He's likely going to get a ton of targets. He's a good PPR play this week. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of Marquise Brown. And remember, this is Seattle defense. James Conner fees in is a what the heck flex just because it's Seattle defense. And there was a couple weeks ago, the Millie Maker, the big DFS competitions. Somebody had put in like 24 lineups. It was the week Seattle played Detroit. Okay. Somebody put in 24 lineups with like 7 players from that game. And it's tied for the number one. Like they made like 1.3 million. Do some lineups like that for this game. This is the game you want to get as many angles as you can because it should be the highest scoring game of the week.
Yeah, should be fun. Gino,
That's
Gino
fun.
keep it up? Yeah, Gino's fun. And Kenneth Walker, he's amazing. Now I love Keontae Ingram. It's like a sleeper. I just love Kenneth Walker just plain old love, Bloom. Motorboat Rookie of the Year, whatever you want to call him. Like, I love him. Love the big back. And, of course, what Gino's doing for DK, for Tyler, and the Seahawks just in general. Pete Carroll's going to be chomping a lot of gum come Sunday.
Yeah. Again, I feel like every time we talk about Seattle this year, we got to say Pete Carroll was right. Pete Carroll was right about Russell Wilson. Got some revising of things. Marshawn Lynch should have been Super Bowl MVP. Anyway, yes, Gino's in your lineup. Yes, Kenneth Walker's in your lineup. That's a capital Y, capital E, capital S. Let's watch DJ Dallas. DJ Dallas is the backup. That's more of a scat back, but perish the thought, if Walker were to go down, I'm not sure who Seattle could bring in. Bo Scarborough, is he out there? They could bring somebody in. Jordan Howard just got signed to the New Orleans practice squad.
They got Tony Jones.
Right. Is that who claimed Tony Jones? Okay,
they got Tony Jones. Yeah.
But Tony Jones hasn't shown much.
Yeah, I'd still loved him at the Shrine game though. Bloom.
Yeah, that's fair. There's your drink. You're obviously playing DK and Lockett. The tight ends stay involved. If you need a desperation tight end, you could do worse than Will Dissly because you expect a lot of scoring in this game. I know one team is going to score a lot in the marquee matchup of the week, Cecil. I'm not sure about the other.
I'm not sure about the other. Okay. Buffalo, Kansas City. This is what you've been waiting for. Here we go. This is a preview of the AFC Championship or the divisional round or sometime when these two teams meet. This will be for the number 1 seed. Now that there's only one bye, Bloom, this makes it even more exciting because this is who gets the bye. The winner of this gets the bye. So, and what does that do for the playoffs? And again, who's willing to go all in? The Chiefs are doing it differently. The Bills are doing it the same. So, okay, Buffalo, how are you going to do it this time? You don't have to worry about Tyreek Hill. You still have to worry about Travis Kelce, though. But the Buffalo side of things, Isaiah McKenzie should be back. Gabe Davis should take off. And I know I got a healthy love for Jalen Watson, but like that KC secondary, you should be able to Diggs, Davis, McKenzie, Khalil Shakir. Is he sleeper of the week, Bloom? Sleeper. Like, we'll talk about it. They're not going to run the ball. They just don't. Maybe some Josh Allen gets a goal line touchdown run, but like, no, that's not what they do. We know what they do, Bloom, and it's glorious.
It is. Oh, wow. Buffalo. And what makes this game interesting, other than all the subtext coming in from last year's epic game, is that it's in Arrowhead. And that's what I think gives Kansas City a puncher's chance in this game. But Buffalo has the better offense and the better defense. I wonder if we're going to see some more Devin Singletary in this one. If it's a closer game, if you think Kansas City's going to hang or maybe lead, that points to more Singletary. Probably 4 teams on bye, you're going to find a way to get Singletary in even as a flex. Looks like Isaiah McKenzie's going to be back. Again, you would think that's your safety valve. That's your pressure release for Josh Allen. And we know they have good chemistry, including in the red zone. Dawson Knox, don't think we're going to see him this week. Just again, the injury problem. But again, that's another reason to like McKenzie. It's another reason. Of course, you like Stephon Diggs. Of course, you like Gabriel Davis. He was pretty good the last time these two teams play, I think. I have just a vague memory. So it's really for Kansas City. Cease, I think for Kansas City, you go in this game thinking anytime we have a drive that ends in a kick. For Buffalo, a field goal, a punt, we did our job. And for Kansas City's offenses, how are you going to score touchdowns? How are you going to score touchdowns against the best defense in the AFC?
Yeah, and what they're doing now and spreading the ball around to a million different receivers, like, okay, that's what they do. And then featuring Travis Kelce, yes, should be a heavy emphasis on Buffalo's defense of Travis Kelce, of course, this time. And then to me, what should happen, again, rational coaching with Andy Reid doesn't always work out, Bloom. But to me, it's run the ball. Like that's what you should do. Not necessarily to play keep away. You want sustained scoring drives. I usually say sustained success, and you always have to slow down when you say that, or you say something that you shouldn't. Sorry, Joe.
Like
But
start
sustained
sit
success.
show.
Yes, yeah. Start sit. Sustained success. YouTube demonetized. Like, oh, it's close enough. Yeah, close enough. But to have that sustained success, you must have long drives that score. So if you're Kansas City, that means Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm always a fan of using more Isaiah Pacheco, and then obviously the other weapons. And trying to pick trying to pick the Kansas City wide receiver, Bloom. That's a exercise in frustration for most fantasy GMs.
Yeah, none of the above, right? Tre'Davious White is going to start practicing soon. They've been doing this without their best
without
corner.
Tre'Davious,
Yeah. So, see, it's like the tables are turned, right? But Kansas City has to do what teams were trying to do to Kansas City years ago in the early Patrick Mahomes era. Keep him on the sidelines. Keep Josh Allen on the sidelines. And this is that offense. And we'll see if Andy Reid is up for this, where you're going to have to go fourth down. Anytime it's fourth and less than like 3 or 4, fourth and 4 or less, you're going for it. You got to go for it unless you're in your own 16-yard line or something. This is the Jason Garrett offense, right? This is 3 plays to get exactly 10 yards because that's about what this team can muster. They don't have a downfield threat, really. Marcus Valdez-Scantling still trying to get some consistency. Travis Kelce still uber productive for fantasy, not a downfield threat at this point in his career, really. Mecole Hardman, inconsistent, never really materialized into the Tyreek Hill light that they hoped he would become. Juju Smith-Schuster, possession receiver. Sky Moore, maybe this is Sky Moore breakout game, and he's got the juice at least. Maybe we're going to be talking about Sky Moore on the Waiver Wire show. But you're rubbing 2 sticks together. I think from Kansas City's perspective, Cease, in this game, they're the plucky underdog, even though they're playing at home. They're the plucky underdog that is trying to just extend drives, get some breaks, make some fourth downs, stop some fourth downs, and in the end, come out on top. You're going to see if we can replay the last few minutes of the amazing playoff game last year. It was the Bills' fear of Tyreek Hill. That's why the Chiefs were able to win that game.
Yep.
There's no fear now. There's no fear when you're defending this Chiefs offense anymore. I do think something to point out for the backfield here. If you think Buffalo is going to lead and control this game, that means it's a Jerick McKinnon game. And you're probably still going to play Clyde Edwards-Helaire just because, again, if you have a game plan where you're thinking we're going to nickel and dime them to death, well, that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting some swing passes, doing some things, running some routes out of the backfield and things like that. Maybe running out of some spread formations, because every 3 or 4 yard game, keeping the offense on schedule. That's what Kansas City's going to have to do here and try to win a game where really the game hinges on 7 or 8 plays. And this is where we're at. Even if Buffalo loses this game, Cease, I think it's clear which team is the better team. Now we go to Sunday night. I'm not sure it's clear which team is the better team.
Yeah, I'm not sure which is the better quarterback. Is that the hot take, Bloom? Right? Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay, Cooper Rush and Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles are up next, and Sunday Night Football. I'm seriously considering skipping the Monday game, Bloom. But in protest, Dallas side first, and it's still going to be Cooper Rush. Okay, Cooper, what do you got now? And Michael Gallup, we talked about him on the Waiver Wire show with Noah Brown and like Michael Gallup there, CeeDee Lamb doing his thing. We're watching the health status, Dalton Schultz, as always, Bloom. Seems like a constant, like, hey, it's my daily update. I have to write about Dalton Schultz. But here we go, Dallas. You got an opportunity to, I'm not going to say knock off the king, but certainly the Eagles are kind of a darling of everyone trying to pick Super Bowl contender in the NFC. Is it Philadelphia? Well, Dallas could make their statement this weekend.
Yeah, without Dak Prescott, too. So whatever happens in Philadelphia, if Dallas goes and loses, even if they lose miserably, embarrassingly, you say, next time. All right. But if they can win this one, ooh, yeah. And we'll get to the Philly side. On the Dallas side, it's very straightforward. Cooper Rush is going to try to throw to CeeDee Lamb to convert some first downs, maybe Michael Gallup as a what-the-heck flex. and it's going to be a lot of Zeke and Pollard. And at this point, Pollard's worth more than Zeke, or at least if you can only start one, you start Pollard, because at least you have the chance of that long play. Philly's defense is solid, so you don't expect, you're getting the volume and the role you want out of Zeke. They're just not scoring touchdowns. When Dak Prescott comes back, all right. So Zeke's a buy low at this point. Probably on this highly visible game, you're going to see another 17 for 55 yards. Maybe you'll get a touchdown, maybe not. But again, keeping that offense on schedule, this team understands how to win with the limitations they have. Without Dak Prescott, and see last week, in developing story, as you alluded to, Jalen Hurts not making this offense go. Yes, scoring the touchdowns. Yes, helping your fantasy team. But they eked out a win against Arizona. Arizona, one of the worst defenses in the league, at least on paper, at least watching what Patrick Mahomes and company has done against them. So Dallas, now the contrast here, though, is it good to have a ferocious pass rush when you're facing Jalen Hurts? Is that really going to help you? That's not actually how do you defend. You want to keep him in the pocket. You want to keep him thinking. You want to contain him in the pocket. So will Dan Quinn take that route, or will he just let this defense play in their natural fashion, which is to come after the quarterback?
Yeah, and their natural fashion is check whoop ass.
Yeah.
So they don't play, because you're speaking of like a mush rush.
Yeah.
Some people get offended when I say mush rush. I'm like, what?
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah, because it's not technically blah blah blah. Like all the oh God, we have so many people who like try to pretend to be film nerds in this industry. Like, it's not technically a mush rush.
We call it the Kumbaya rush, where we all lock arms and sing Kumbaya.
We lock arms, we get some s'mores, right? Like, there we go. Where's Rick Neuheisel and his acoustic guitar? But like, okay, yeah, mush. You're talking about mush rush. It's check whoop ass in Dallas, which is no discipline, no plan, just dog go hunt, right? Get on a hunt, go after him, go get him. So does that work against Jalen Hurts? Nah, I don't think so. Does it work? Miles Sanders should have lots of drop play opportunities,
right?
Screen pass opportunities. Slim Reaper, Goddard, AJ Brown, all the names we know and love at home. Jason Wood's going to be there, of course. Woodrow's always there. This one should be a good one, Bloom, for the Eagles.
Oh boy. So yeah, Hurts, obviously he's in your lineup, but without watching the Eagles in a real highly visible game for a little while, since the beatdown they put on Minnesota, we may be a little dismayed to see Hurts isn't making this offense hum, at least not lately. And yes, you're going to play AJ Brown, you're going to play the Slim Reaper, you're going to play Dallas Goedert. Maybe Dallas Goedert's the most valuable of the three when the dust settles, because you are getting floor games out of Smith and ceiling games. Brown's leveling off, but he's not getting touchdowns. It's Jalen Hurts scoring all the touchdowns, right? So this offense, there isn't a lot of good distribution. You did have Miles Sanders had a good game with a couple of touchdowns a few weeks ago, but it's Jalen Hurts getting all those touchdowns. And there may not be a lot of touchdowns to go around in this one, because Dallas's defense is good. It's very good. Like you said, you may see more Miles Sanders in this one. You may see a lot of punting. I think you may see a field position game, a game turn on a turnover, or a special teams play, a close to the vest game, and a game that I think Dallas, I'll submit this, Cease. I think Dallas is more comfortable in their identity on both sides of the ball than Philadelphia right now. And we'll see if that makes a difference in this game.
Yeah. What's your comfort level like? And then Monday, what else are you doing Monday, Bloom, besides watching football?
Yeah.
I'm encouraging everyone this week to do, spend time with those that you love. How about that? There's a good,
or touch some grass.
Touch some grass, get outside in nature, go hiking. You do not need to watch Monday Night Football at all. You do not need to see the Denver Broncos have an embarrassment out there against the Chargers. Watch them win, Bloom, because I'm writing my 3 keys article available at denverfan.com. And key number 1 is kind of hang around. Just saying, what are you doing? Just hanging out. You're like Jay and Silent Bob outside a Quick Stop, right? That's Nathaniel Hackett. He's about like Jay, right there. Now I'm gonna start doing Snoochie Boochies.
I was gonna do you want to make love with me, Berserker?
Berserker. Yeah, that Berserker guy from Russia could call better plays, right? I think what's this band called? Blank Your Yankee Blue Jeans or something. Sorry, Joe. So yeah, I mean, I would rather talk about Clerks 3
Yeah.
than talk about the Denver Broncos. Like seriously, I think right now, Bloom, what I'm doing is an exercise in protection. You know what I mean? Like I'm mentally like
Yes.
I can't go there. I can't
Yes.
talk about it.
Yes.
I can't say everything that I know. I'm sorry, everybody. I wish I could. Just know that there is not resentment growing, but there's a question why Russ gets different treatment than others. Like that's a buzz that you pick up around the building. I can't be very specific, but there's a buzz that you pick up that when there's conversations had about this team, the buzz is like, why does Russ has his own quarterback coach, his own trainer, his own nutritionist. He's got 2 chefs. All these people have full access to the building, right? So not like, hey, afterwards, you got the chef at home and you got a trainer. No, your quarterback coach is there while Clint Kubiak's there, right? And like people are questioning that. And I better stop talking or else I will say too much. But like, so there's that part of it. On the Russ side, and here's where I side with Russ. And I do side with Russ because Hackett doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Do we have to pick a side?
Right. But here's where I side with Russ because Russ understands that perception. And he also was so concerned. It's like reading your newspaper clippings. No one reads a newspaper. Reading Twitter. Russ is so concerned with being seen as a me guy that doesn't want to be a me guy, even though he's a me guy and he should be a me guy because he's the flipping quarterback.
Yeah.
So I don't want to cuss. I don't want to lose either one of my jobs. But like there's problems here because you have a perception of your quarterback's understanding of that perception, and then your quarterback's reaction to that perception, and you have a head coach. I did say this on air, so I'm gonna trust that I can say it here. Okay. And
I like those shows you do with Sigmund, Cecil.
Yes, exactly. I did say it on air. And you're Sig, by the way.
Oh,
They
Sig.
love you.
Sig.
They love you.
I love them. I love everybody.
You have a head coach who's a cuck, and I don't think that's great because in 1 week, you had a coach be like, just we're doing what Russ wants. Huh? So you have a question of who's in charge.
Yeah.
What's going on? You're facing the Chargers. But the Broncos have a really good defense. Yeah. That's the thing. And you're
Baron Browning
back, and they got Baron Browning, and they've got playmakers, right? Like, and that's the problem. There isn't a division yet. I don't anticipate there will be. Wink. But there was one years ago, and and I know Wade Phillips was mad at our friend Charlie Campbell for reporting that. But like, yeah, years ago, the offense couldn't do anything, and the defense hated them. The defense doesn't hate the offense yet, Bloom, but that's only human nature.
Yeah, it is.
They're doing everything. Broncos offense can't do anything.
Yeah.
Start Latavius Murray, by the way.
Yeah. What the heck, Flex? Sleeper of the week. It's a Broncos show. 3 straight weeks we've got to watch this Broncos team in prime time now. Oh my, why? What did we do to deserve this? What did Cecil Lammey do to deserve this? As the show within the show, how is it to be Cecil Lammey covering the Broncos? Gets into the thick. This is the crescendo. And Cecil, you don't have to worry about being too specific because I think we can sum all these things up this way. When you're losing, all these little irritants become friction, become heat, fires. When you're winning, keep doing what you're doing. Private, this, that, and cook and chauffeur, masseuse, whatever. Just keep doing it. Winning heals everything, right? Winning cures everything. So I think that's part of what's happening. And like you said, Cease, I think in NFL locker rooms, there's always a need for accountability and a feeling that everybody is going to be held accountable. This is Bill Belichick addressing down Tom Brady in front of the team, right?
Right.
And that creates a sense of buy-in when there's accountability, and when you're losing and you're not being held accountable, because it ain't the defense that's causing this team to lose. But didn't those teams where the defense hated the offense, eventually the defense won a Super Bowl for them, right? So,
Yeah.
It can bear fruit. The hatred but it's not going to bear fruit on this team. From a fantasy standpoint, like you said, Latavius Murray, we're just going to watch this backfield split. None of them are safe plays. We'll see how much they're willing to trust Murray. We may watch this develop. This may see something where they go in the first few drives and really truly have a hot hand approach. And let's see who's running hot tonight, because it is going to be the running game. And you got to keep playing Sutton, but that's it. We're going to watch Greg Dulcich in deep league, tight end premium leagues, maybe a preemptive pickup. But again, we really have to watch this team in prime time again and see. Maybe that's part of it, is these losses are so, or even the win is it's so visible. I mean, how many was this? I'm sorry, it's just the fourth straight primetime game, I think, actually, if I think about it right. I don't know. It's all running together, except they actually won a game, actually lost a game. I just know the scores are always 12-11, 12-9, whatever. And that spotlight, because the league, everybody watches the primetime games. You know, your peers are watching the primetime games. So it's adding the magnifying glass to everything that's going on with this team, which is probably good for the Chargers, because the Chargers, they won a hard-fought game. They won the kind of game they lose usually last week. They can come home in primetime and get a win here. Then it'll seem like that Justin Herbert, Jacksonville embarrassment, injury, it's all in the past.
All in the past. And now, if you are the Chargers, now with more Austin Eckler, like
a lot of Austin Eckler.
Jaira Evero is the best head coach on the Broncos, and he's the defensive coordinator. But they do have a hell of a defense now with more Keenan Allen, though. So I assume Pat Surtain is going to be on Keenan Allen. And that's no Lassie Barker or anything like that, because I've actually heard opposite. Like, oh, he's going to be on Mike Williams. I'm like, why in the hell would you have him on Mike Williams? And if Michael Ojemudia is out there, God bless him. Great kid, works hard. Terrible player. Like, he will be targeted. He will be exposed like that. Or if it's Damari Mathis, and I like Damari Mathis, Bloom, but like, you're going to get exposed on the guys that aren't Pat Surtain. So, you know, who is it? It's a lot of Eckler and a lot of both wide receivers, probably. Because I don't think Surtain travels with Keenan. That's just a guess.
Yeah, and I do think that if there's a reason to play PS2 on Mike Williams, it's because of what you said, that he won't really have to travel with somebody, and that's a real straightforward, you know, he can run, he can jockey physically with Mike Williams. I don't know that he can truly win the ball in the air, but he's obviously the Broncos corner has the best chance of doing that. And Keenan Allen's first week back, again, 4 teams on bye, so you might just have to play Keenan Allen, assuming he is back. And remember, I think he did have a setback. I think we can look back and say he had a setback when he was walking off the practice field with a trainer. And that second injury can be worse than the first injury. And with these hamstrings, it can be tricky. So it wouldn't be shocking to see Keenan Allen go out there and only play a couple series and then say, no, not tonight. But that all points back to Austin Eckler. Lots and lots and lots and lots of Austin Eckler in this one. And, you know, Denver, they had trouble slowing down Phillip Lindsay and Deion Jackson last week in the running game. So, of course, you're going to run a lot of Eckler coming off of probably his best game as a runner in his career. And then otherwise, you have a cast of characters, right? Gerald Everett, Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter, Donald Parham. I mean, these are players that you're going to look to make plays when Surtain can cancel out Mike Williams, when you have to convert a third down. And we'll see some Josh Kelly in this one too. You know, this is a tough defense, so you're looking at a lower half for this whole offense. But that says to me, keep it safe, keep it with Eckler, maybe catching 7, 8, 9 balls out of the backfield in this one, while we're all touching grass and spending time with our loved ones.
Before we're out of here, we have to do our ever popular sleeper of the week.
It's time for the sleeper of the week, powered by Sleeper.
I'm going out to UC Health Training Center. Actually, I got called into the studio, Bloom, so I have to run. But yeah. I will be at Broncos headquarters today. I'm going to be watching Latavius Murray. How much usage can we glean from stretching? Like, probably not a lot. But I do know this. This is a team that got Latavius Murray, still wanted to go after Tony Jones. And it's not because they're disappointed in Mike Boone. They may be disappointed in his pass protection because it's been awful. But, you know, when they already have Latavius, why would they go get Tony Jones as well? Oh, they're disappointed in Melvin. They're upset about Melvin. Melvin's lucky to have a job. There's my Clerks reference again. Like, I'm not even supposed to be here today. Well, Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon. So Latavius Murray, the sleeper of the week for me, Bloom. And I hope it works out for him. He's talented back. Yeah. Texas versus the Nation, your rare bingo card. We'll see what that happens and how that works out for the Broncos coming up on Monday night. Again, don't watch, just check, you got the Yahoo app, whatever,
exactly.
Sleeper app, right?
Check
check the scores, baby.
Yeah, just check the score, but not if you're out on a date. Look, sleeper of the week. Here's a story. Here's a guy we're rooting for. Brian Robinson. How about Brian Robinson? Story coming out today that much like Russell Wilson, it's a biceps tendon strain on the throwing arm for Carson Wentz. So there was even some talk that he might not play this week. They had to see how he looked in practice, but that's practice. That's practice, okay? Chicago's defense is not bad. Why not, if he's ready, why not Brian Robinson 25 carries? Chicago is not going to force Washington to be aggressive on offense. This is going to be a game for the kickers and the punters, and maybe Brian Robinson. Some other what-the-heck flexes this week, and boy, we need them. We're in the bye week gauntlet now. Benjamin, Travis Etienne talked about a sleeper of the week of the first half. Jerick McKinnon talked about him if Kansas City's trailing. Wide receiver talked about Isaiah McKenzie. Donovan Peoples-Jones is interesting here, as again, you would think New England's going to try to keep the ball in Jacoby Brissett's hands. Donovan Peoples-Jones can make some big plays downfield. Darius Slayton against Baltimore, Rondale Moore getting a ton of receptions. Ben Skowronek in the snoozer of will Cecil's handwriting be legible this week, the Carlar game, and we'll see. So Cecil will get back to us from what he sees, and we'll continue to tell you everything we see here on the Audible as we go into week 6. Going to be back tonight at 9:30 Eastern. Talk about what should be, well, maybe not a scintillating game, but a game with Chris Allen, and of course with Matt Waldman, and with all of you beautiful, fine people.
He's Sigmund. I'm Cecil. Stay safe, stay humble, and know you are truly appreciated. And also, stay frosty, people.
Yeah.